Uncle Chippy was, he was the glue of that team. I gave him my passport on Friday with him in his office. I even asked him, like, what's your weekend plans, Uncle Chip? To sit just second on the log with 4 league fixtures left. It's nice to have your destiny in your own hands. Where you play quarters, semis, finals. So hopefully it's a DHL stadium.
Yes.
It's the best thing and the scariest thing at the same time. Having kids and raising a kid. I remember the first night in hospital, me and my wife we were crying. What did we do?
Ruckers, welcome back to that time of the week. The only time that matters is your time with your #1 rugby podcast. This is Behind the Ruck.
Yes.
Ruckers, it is settled time. It's settling down. And your #1 rugby podcast is proudly supported by SuperSport Bet, okay? This is the show where we go inside the rugby minds, inside the rugby personalities, and make sure that we cover everything, okay? It's the only show that you should be watching the weekend, your Thursday night. Ruckers, I want to encourage you guys once again, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like, don't forget to share. Okay, and we're going to get this show on the road tonight. Ruckers, I am your short guy. I am your round guy. I'm Rudy Page, former Springbok. And I've got next to me my partner in
Your
crime.
former Springbok, Juan de Jong in the house. Hey, partner. Hey, it's that time of the week. The Ruckers' favorite time, huh?
Oh,
huh?
They were everywhere again this past weekend, partner. Yes. And I want to tell you, I met I think she was 70 years old.
17?
70.
70.
Okay. She got me at the butchery and said, hello Rudy, ek wil net vir jou sê, ek geniet jou so baie.
Oh, is it?
Ja.
Oh, Ruckers.
Ruckers maak seker my.
En Kosie, baie dankie.
Thank you.
Hoop jy's 'n lekker rakker wat subscribe, maar okay.
Yes. and Ruckers, again, the reason why we nag so much on liking, sharing, subscribing, because subscribing is absolutely free.
It's free.
And it allows us to grow, partners.
100%.
The only way they can support us is by subscribing.
And I was very
to our channel.
disappointed with them because I saw Justin Bieber, this Coachella, and Justin Bieber was on YouTube. But there was no emails and SMS and competition or comments that says, put in Behind the Ruck. Okay, Ruckers, okay? Behind the Ruck on YouTube, okay? Let Justin Bieber know as well.
And partner, interesting stat, while we're on the subscribe, it's still 54% of our audience has not subscribed to our channel yet. So again, that's why we're hammering on it, Ruckers, okay?
50%?
Over 50%, 54 unsubscribed.
So what do we call it?
As roofkijkers.
Hey, don't say it.
Roofkijkers, okay?
I started the okay.
Ruckers, but to the show, it's not just SuperSport Bet. We got our official partners, Burger King, that is on board with us. And they are serving fried chicken now, okay? Crispy, juicy, and crunchy. And for the competitions, the mechanism will be easy. You got to take your favorite rugby buddy in the post, the social media competitions that we will be running. Tag Behind the Ruck, tag Burger King SA, and for extra credits and bonus points, you're going to have to add it to your stories. But that is coming up on our social media platforms.
Big vouchers, 1,000.
Yes. 1,000 Rand Burger King voucher where you can get your fried chicken. Okay?
Magie vol, we'll just do But guys, episode 144, what to expect on Behind the Ruck. Like we always say, we're keeping it simple, okay? We've got someone in the studio, the one and only, the DHL Stormers captain, Ruhan Nel. Hey, he's in the building, guys. What an incredible story. I mean, he has built from the onder tot abo. So we're going to check in with him, see his journey, see what's going on with him. And then after, we've got URC that's back. Fixtures, okay? Week 15. It is the race to the top 8 partner. It's going to be a lekker episode.
It's going to be exciting. And all the Stormers fans, you guys must be smiling. You guys must be ready, okay? I want you to put on your seatbelt because we're going to talk to your captain now.
Yeah, let's get to the big man.
Let's go, boyki.
Up next, Ruhan Nel. Ruckers, today we tell a story of someone that didn't take the easy route. He had to put bricks on bricks, partner. All the way from Brandwag to the Lions, to the Griquas, to the Blitzboks. But he's a URC champion.
Come on.
He's the DHL Stormers captain.
Come on.
We got the one and only Ruhan Nel in the house.
Hey, thanks, Jimmy. Thanks, Paigey. Yeah, it's nice to be here with you guys.
Yeah, lekker man. Looking good so far and easy. How's the season so far?
Yeah, it's been good. Look, I think you go through seasons within a season. But, to sit just second on the log with, 4 league fixtures left, with our destiny basically on our own hands, where I feel like the Stormers in the past seasons, we probably were Bafana matting, you know, like we're hoping this one loses, this one wins, and then you go through. I think it's nice to have your destiny in your own hands, you know, where you play quarters, semis, finals. So hopefully it's a DHL stadium.
Yes.
But yeah, no, it's been a brilliant season, yeah.
And Ruth, just overall, how are you doing in life?
Yeah, good. Very good. Thanks, Paige. The wife is good. You know, the girl is good. First year at school, so she's obviously enjoying it. I think it's a stressful period once your kid starts going to school. You know, you're hoping they fit in and they make some friends and stuff. You know, so she's really enjoying it. So I think, you know, once everything in your own house, you know, everybody's happy there. You know, it just gives you so much more freedom on the field to express yourself and actually have calmness. So yeah, in that regard, it's been good. But obviously recently, bit of a tougher time now at the Stormers as well with Uncle Chippy's passing. But I'm sure we'll obviously touch on that a bit later as well.
Yeah, and the time as well. I mean, obviously, you guys coming back from Toulon as well. How was that trip away? You're speaking about calmness at home, but also you guys are up and running and moving a bit.
Yeah, definitely. Look, south of France was unbelievable. Yeah. It was nice actually to tour to the northern hemisphere and have such great weather.
Yeah.
You know, I think we played. Normally, when you play in France, you'll play 9 o'clock kickoffs.
Yes.
You know, I think we had a 4 o'clock kickoff. The sun was still sitting pretty high. Yeah. So and the people of Toulon are so passionate about their team.
Yeah.
You know, the whole week when we were walking around there, you know, they live and breathe for the team there. You know, so people would greet us. They'll see the Stormers badges on us. You know, so immediately that's a conversation starter. They would tell us about the ex-South Africans that was playing. You know, Joe van Niekerk, Bakkies, Brian, all of them. We can go to all of them. You know, Joe van Niekerk got it as the 3 times in that week, literally the words that I heard they tell me was Joe van Niekerk is regarded as a god. I was like,
oh wow,
yeah, those exact words. He's a god. And I was like, bro, what do you have to do to be regarded as a god in Toulon? But I just mean like that's also the connection they have to the South Africans. Like every single South African that's signed there has obviously contributed in a massive way towards that club. So we were warmly received there. The hotel's been great. The people has been great. The atmosphere was great. Yeah, just one of those cathedrals of rugby. That it's a unbelievable experience.
And the food, did we enjoy the foodies, the baguettes and the croissants and all of that?
Funny enough, whenever we tour to the Northern Hemisphere, there's always an ex-rugby player, whether they be playing for France, Ireland, England, South Africa. You know, they got some kind of a restaurant up there that's serving the best steaks and meats and potatoes and stuff. So we always manage to end up there. But there obviously is a little bit of the French cuisine that you enjoy as well. A pastrykie and you know, with the coffee goes a long way. But yeah, we just like I said, it was such an unbelievable experience. You know, getting to experience a bit of the France culture, a little bit different than I would say probably, you know, what you would have in Paris and all of that. You know, on the coast, it's a very chill.
That's the real French experience.
Yeah, 100%. So no, I mean. Apart from the result, we couldn't complain, you know, about the week and how we were treated there.
Were you in Toulon?
No, I've played against Toulon, but wasn't in Toulon. I wasn't
in the city.
Levels. So van Niekerk, Brian Abana, and then the one was Clermont. But Ruck, could you guys pick up the difference that how they treated the Investing Champions Cup, that match, the crowd, the atmosphere, the environment? Was there a difference between Investing Champions Cup knockout match and a URC match, or could you guys not pick it up?
No, I think we definitely could pick it up. I think obviously a team like Toulon, they went for a 3-peat with the European Championship. You know, so I just think like the Investing Champions Cup has been around so much longer for those people. You know, there's so much history in it for them as well. So I just think naturally with that, they found this love for it, and it's something they've known from probably, you know, when they were schoolboys and schoolgirls growing up looking at the competition, where for South Africans, it's probably a bit more of a newer competition, you know, like we still speak to people today and they're confused about, is it, you know, URC, is it, you know, so where I feel like the Northern Hemisphere teams, they've got that, and the fans, they've got that pretty much down to the wire. They know exactly this weekend it's quarterfinal Champions Cup or round of 16 Champions Cup. You know, so I just think it's obviously going to take time for the South African public to really get to know that competition. The quality of the competition that you're playing against is also on a different level. So you can definitely feel it when you're walking around there. It was so special. Like there's a shop there that's specifically for Toulon. They got like all this merchandise and tops and stuff. And there were these scarves that they specially made that week that had Stormers versus Toulon, the date, obviously Stade Mayor on, which was quite special because you would think this week, tomorrow, that's out, new fixtures in. So, I mean, like that's the effort they go to really remember the fixture. And so like I said, it's an amazing experience to obviously have seen how much they embrace that competition, how much it means to those people.
They're a desperate team, and I mean, they're sitting probably like 11th or 12th on the top 14.
Yeah.
And I mean, they took this competition actually to go further. But for you personally as well, because you played against Juan Brex from Italy, classy outfit, international player, but also Nonno that came on. What was that challenge like for you as well?
Unreal. I actually had the opportunity to play against in 2019 in my first year of Super Rugby. When I just signed with the Stormers, but we were playing Stormers Blues in Auckland, but I was sick that week. And I still remember that Sunnyball and Ma'a as the center combination. We lost that game, but I still remember I was like, I was fresh out of sevens then. I only left sevens 2018. So, up until then, you're only looking at these guys on the TV, So unreal. But obviously when he ran onto the field, I then moved to 12. Wandy came on at 13. So me and Nonno straight opposite each other. Sasha was probably in nappies when Nonno made his debut. And I still remember like Sasha nodded, like he even called like, Nonno. And he looked and Sasha went and I was like, and then I said to Sasha, he's carrying me, you have to slut him now, So, but yeah, it's an unbelievable experience, obviously, to have played against him. And like surprisingly, he moves for a 43-year-old. He doesn't look like a step off the pace. He's flipping explosive, flipping strong. And chatting to Dave Ribbons in the week, he actually came a couple of times to hang out with us. He says like he's Nonno's pushing his own weight there. He's running in the front. He's leading by example in the gym. Really looks after himself. So I think at 43 to be able to do that, you're not doing that by just laying on the couch and resting because you won 2 World Cups back to back. So there's obviously a lot of effort that goes into that.
Boys, is that a new benchmark? 43. It used to be 38 when Mornestein Moras was pushing it to 39. Is 43 now the new?
Yeah, it looks like that was Brocky. Brocky was also like 40.
Yeah, Brocky was also more or less
41.
But they're getting older and older, which is great for us. So come contract negotiations, you're like, well, listen, he's still doing it at 38 plus. So but it's obviously great to see and obviously to have experienced that.
Is it easy for the backs or the forwards to get there? That's the biggest question. Because usually when it comes to the backs, it's the hamstrings and the calves and the groins that go. But the forwards, they don't run that fast, maybe. But they've got all the joints issues and a lot of load.
It's weird. Like if you look at Brock and the props, they have so much load on their lower back and scrummaging and what the pressure in the oven there. But they've played over the history the longest from a career span. But now you look at the backs. We first had Mornay that did it, obviously. And now it's Nonno that's gone 43. So I don't know, partner.
And who's next? Ruhan Nel.
Yeah, boys. I don't know. I'll probably have to switch leagues. I'll probably sign somewhere else or something because the URC, I feel like it's just getting tougher and tougher. So,
But we're talking about the URC and we obviously, the Ruckers and the viewers, is predominant Stormers fans. You guys are sitting second on the log. Yeah. You, the leader of the team, looking at the next 4 weeks, winnable games. Really winnable games. You don't have to comment on it. I can do that. You guys must be confident that you can host playoff rugby at the DHL Stadium in the next few weeks.
Yeah, Paige, definitely. I think that's obviously a massive goal of us. For the team is to bring playoff rugby back to Cape Town. I think URC 1, we experienced it. Was very fortunate that the Bulls beat Leinster in Ireland, so we got that home final. Unbelievable, but I think we just came out of COVID, so we could only fill up DHL to half capacity. Only the first tier. And then same thing, URC 2, where we had the home semi, but once again, like that was, we put ourselves in a position to go home quarter, but then the guys on top of us lost. We got a semi at home again. I think it was against Connacht, and then Munster beat Leinster with a drop goal at the end. And that's that video that leaked where we were celebrating in the in the suite. It probably came out completely the wrong way. But then we once again had a home final there. So from a player's point of view, we've experienced that, and how unbelievable it is and how much it means to the people of Cape Town. And it's just playoff rugby. Like you want to be in your, like it's a hostile environment to come and play in South Africa, you know. So for any Northern Hemisphere team that tours here and you got to play off rugby, surely it has to be like, yes, you know, ons gaan bietjie in die leeukuil in. So yeah.
And Fadi, I always say, you guys at the Stormers, you got an unfair advantage.
Hoekom?
Because they come to the Cullinan, every team.
Is lekker.
We did it with the Bulls all the year. You come, and all of a sudden, it's family that is visiting in the hotel. And then you're going to Willoughby's. And then it's this and that.
Sun is shining, Table Mountain.
Everything is important except the Saturday's game.
Die liggies vang jou.
Die lig is
Focus
man.
shifts a bit, yeah.
Look, we actually say when you play for the Bulls, you got altitude. Lions, the same thing.
Yeah.
Play for the Sharks, you got humidity on your side, you know. So when you come to Cape Town must perform for us. So something has to go for us, yeah. So, yeah.
But yeah, double said it as well. I mean, home games is very important when it comes to this competition because it's so long. What is it, like 17, 18 games? You have to dig deep and it's Investing Champions Cup as well. How important is it maybe that home games and how important is it this season as well to see the people coming out at the DHL Stadium?
Yeah, definitely, Jubies. You know, it's a really a long season and obviously, any competition is going to get towards the sharp end. The longer the competition goes on, teams settle. We especially see it with the Northern Hemisphere teams post Six Nations. You know, then they actually start catching form because 2-3 weeks after Six Nations, then those squads actually start to settle. We normally settle, let's say January. You know, we started try to catch form because then our box come back from various periods and stuff like that. So we've actually seen how important it is to win those early on games at home when we did not have the box. You know, how much it actually did us or favors it's doing us now because now all of a sudden you no longer have a pressure to make a playoff. You're now playing for home advantage. So definitely, you know, if you can pick up those home wins early in the season, just takes the pressure off you later on the season. But now, so we are like literally today on the training field, just speaking about it. We're like, listen, when we were like bottom of the log, the pressure was there to win to make a playoff. Now you're on top of the log, basically, and the pressure is still there to win because it never stops. But it's a privilege to be in that position, you know, when you can play for a home quarter, semi, and a final.
But that first 10 weeks, 10 games on a bounce. Was it 10 games on a bounce?
Yeah.
How was that? And obviously, I mean, you were injured, especially in those couple of games as well, when the Sharks and the Lions as well. The 10 weeks, but also the mindset of those 3-4 weeks when things didn't go so well.
Yeah, look, I think just for the Stormers brand, you know, so obviously in the beginning of the season we had the rebranding, the old Stormers logo gone. Beginning of, you know, the new Stormers logo coming, like we were taking shots.
It's a lot of changes, It's first the stadium, then the logo, then
we're going
this.
through it. So obviously then we had the logo change and the people were coming for us, you know. Luckily what softened the blow a bit is that Eddie came on board.
Yes. We spoke about it.
So I mean, like, if you speak about, you know, the Stormers rugby, Eddie is like synonym with that. You know, I mean, Jubies, that was back in your day. You know, so and then I think no one could have actually predicted it that we would go on this unbelievable 10 game streak. Would we go be winning? Because I think, like, obviously, it's the same when we moved from Newlands to DHL Stadium. You win the URC, and all of a sudden, immediately, people's got this fondness of, DHL, it's winning. You know, the Stormers are winning there. It's actually not that bad. Like, I'm sure we'll make peace with it. Some people not, which is fine, you know. But same thing I think happened in the beginning of the season. It's a logo change, outrage. Now all of a sudden we got on this 10-game winning streak, but people are like, yes, but these guys are actually really performing, you know. Maybe I can get used to this new Stormers look. If they're winning, you know, maybe it is not that bad. So I'm speaking under correction. Yeah. This is just what I'm saying now. So I think in that regard, it did us great from a supporter's point of view. Obviously, to go 10 games in a row, it's been great. The prep we did in the off-season was really, really hard work. So obviously, we had a guy from Australia, Will. He was our head of SNC. Changed things up a little bit for us in the way we did pre-season. You know, so the boys were really confident going into that. A lot of credit has to go for the coaching staff, trying new things. And then obviously, like I just said, you know, you go through seasons within a season. You hit the patch where we go back-to-back Sharks. Lose that. I think we lost the Lions as well then. So then HPC becomes a pretty...
Yeah, it's a challenging
it's a tough ride in. It's a tough ride in, you know. And then I don't think necessarily that we were doing things wrong. I just think that we were drifting away from certain things that we did really well, you know. And I think that's the thing about probably high-performance sport is like you don't notice the drift until things are really starting to go pear-shaped. And then when you start really like dissecting things and analyzing things, you realize, yes, but maybe we're not effective anymore as what we used to be. So I don't think it was a loss of identity or plans that weren't working. I just think we were a little bit loose. Like things weren't broken. It was just a little bit loose. And, going into that Bulls week, obviously then you had like a bit of a 3-week. And then I think there was a big break before we played the Bulls.
Yes.
And then I'm pretty sure you guys were in teams as well with this massive post-mortem. You go through everything to see, boys, where are we missing something, So then obviously coming back, personnel came back, I came back, Brannas came back. I'm not saying that's the reason we won, but I just think obviously that's a new energy all of a sudden. It's a new face on the field. So just leading into that Bulls game was a really good energy between the guys, and there was almost like that hunger again just to get the season back on track. And
yeah, but now that I'm doing coaching as well, sometimes when the W's roll in, you kind of lose the stuff that's kind of cracks or cancer that might have an effect later on, yeah.
But that's difficult though, boys. You still playing, you in the coaching. I'm obviously removed from that. But it's very difficult because the turnaround times is so short in rugby. It's 7 weeks. And when things are going well, you also want to stay from the confidence. So you always riding that wave, staying on top. So it is kind of difficult to kind of find those cracks within. Or not cracks, I don't want to call it cracks, you call it drifting a little bit.
Just staying on the DNA, if you're going to call it like that,
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and it's, Paige, I just believe like one of the characteristics that makes a great team is if every guy understands his role and what makes him good. Like Jubies, we've been part of the 7 system. I was never going to be a stepper in the 7 system. It's just not part of I can work on my stepping, but it's not going to be my go-to. I knew exactly my role is to carry. It's a game of numbers, bro. 2 guys at least going to commit to that breakdown. It's going to open up space for the steppers and guys with speed out wide. So, like if a team just gets to that point where they know exactly, boys, also with the Villa Park forwards, boys, go through them, go over them. It's going to open up space for our talented guys like a Gaza, Sasha, Boogie. Then obviously it's a lacquer party then. Everybody brings something to the party which is going to make it lacquer for us. So
I can't help myself, Ruud, to ask you're talking about the Gaza and the Sasha and the Boogies. You kind of the how can I put this in English?
Straight and narrow focused.
No, Boogie's Boogie.
Exploring.
He explores, he sees stuff that no one sees, and sometimes, but how do you keep them to this identity that you're speaking about, where everybody understands who we are within the team, and knowing that now Ruhan Nel is the leader of these guys, and keeping them afloat where they don't go away in the game or where things become too easy for them?
Yeah, Paige, look, I think I'm very fortunate enough, to play with guys like Dion Fourie. Brannas he captained the Springboks in the World Cup final. Like, there's not a lot you're going to tell that guy about a captaincy, or taking leadership or taking ownership of anything. So I think, with a guy like Brannas, we were counting today in the team. There's 7 captains in our squad. That was a captain at one point this season. So there's a lot of experience. It's I've always just said, I think there's multiple teams that say it's not a one-man show. But I get your point. What you're saying, like, you got a lot of ballers in the back, in the back line. Like, Gaza just wants to attack. Sasha, Boogie, we can go through all of them there. I probably just think from our point of view, like me and Dupi in the midst there, like I said, we're not going to be your flashy guys, like, ons gaan maar 'n bietjie jou donkie werk doen.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just about whispering in their ears, like, boys, maybe this is not the best play right now. Maybe just go with this, we're feeding this, let's stick with that, So it's not about trying to box them in, but it's also just trying to get the team on the front foot, which they do also pretty well. But there are times, obviously, where that natural instinct wants to take over. So it's obviously just about being a voice in the ear, just to be like, this is what we're seeing, this is what we're feeling. Maybe this is the better option for us right now. And like I said, once the pack of forwards are going forward and space opens up, then you just naturally got ballers that know what to do with space. So it's like it's not me to be like, dude. It's all of us seeing pictures and giving advice and giving feedback to each other, to the playmakers, to hopefully make the right call and execute from there.
That's brilliant, because sometimes you need that balance. You need the guys, obviously, that does the flashy work, but you can't box them in. But the guys that also doing the unseen work, that makes it a bit different, much easier going forward, especially in a season like that.
It's a mooi blend. In the Cape, you guys are renowned for beautiful wines. So it sounds to me like the Stormers has got a fantastic blend, a nice red wine, and everybody's playing their part, and it sounds successful. Ruckers, it sounds really successful
gonna
and
be
dangerous. Vanaf Pretoria ons moet 'n bietjie kyk. Okay.
Yeah. Roof, you said now Springbok captain like Dion for him. Obviously next year as well, Sia Kolisi joining you guys and a lot of other senior players, Wilco Low. How will it be for you, especially as a recent or current captain now, taking that experience on board, working together as a unit? Because sometimes when it comes to the Springboks, they talk about no egos. Is the same type of thing? Or how do you see, especially when Dobot speaks about Project 29?
Yeah, Juby's like once again, bro, it's not a small, person or small figure that we're talking about. It's Sia that we all know and love so dearly. So, look how next season is going to look. I don't know, but I think a powerful thing in the team is if everybody's got a voice. If you allowed people to speak. If it's going to be the same voice constantly, the message might get dulled down. People switch off a bit, because it's dieselfde stem. It's the same, it's the same tune that you're hearing the whole time. So. That's what I try and do on the field as well. Like I'll never be that wants to talk the whole time. Obviously, I've got a department that I run, so outside center normally runs the defense of the team. So, and then just you obviously got the captain's responsibility as now. That might just get it like a general message, but otherwise than that, like the floor is always open for someone to share what they're seeing, what they're feeling, and then probably the responsibility of the game grabbers is just to tie that down a little bit more, So if it's nothing that's really going to affect the team, it's no use we're standing in a circle and you chatting to me about the 12-13 combination. Now everybody must stand and listen about the 12-13. That's an issue there, So if it's not really something that's a system error, you can probably sort that out between link times, before we launch a line out, and setting up, you can just say, hey, Jubies, maybe just keep your feet, or I need you on me a little bit earlier. But same with that, CR coming and Walker coming, it's big voices, guys with a lot of experience, and it's obviously just, there is a space for those guys to raise their concerns and, give their praise to the team and obviously have a voice there as well. So if everybody's got a voice, we're getting the full picture, and from there we can actually start to make plans, that's going to be best for the team.
Yeah, I'm sitting here, Ruckus, and I'm thinking to myself, you mentioned something very cool. It's not the one voice that gets diluted, because that is how when my playing days, it was always one captain for the whole year. What does modern leadership look like in the rugby environment, Ruhan?
Look, I think, for you to be able to lead effectively, you must serve effectively as well, So, it's like I said, I've got the title to be captain, but it's not now, ek gaan nou voor staan, jou klaskaptein, everybody listen, this is what we're doing. Because,
force it on.
Like I know what I'm good at, like defensively to run that on the field, I know that's probably my strength, so I'm going to stick to that. I'm not going to mix in with Sasha or Gaza when they're speaking about the attack, or Warwick when they're speaking about the attack, because they've obviously got their finger on the pulse with that. I don't. Same as with the lineouts. JD's running that scrum, same thing. So, like I said, there's one guy that's got the title of captain, but there's so many other voices in the team that's running departments that, fortunately we have to listen to, because I don't see the full picture. There's no way. It's like us not giving feedback to a 10. We expect Sasha to look for kick space, look for run space, look who's inside him, give communication to the 9, give communication to the guy out the back. It's just impossible with a 2-second rack speed. You're never going to be effective with that, So it's the same thing. Like he's reliant on guys that's seeing other pictures, giving him information so he can make the best decisions for the team. And that's just when it comes to voices in the team as well. There's a space for everybody to see what they're feeling in their own departments. And from there, like I said, the heads of departments will then decide, maybe park that or let's go with that. That's what we're seeing. That's not working. Let's try and implement that. So it can be a tricky thing sometimes, because obviously naturally with time, guys pick up experience. And with experience, you obviously see more pictures, which then naturally you just want to voice the pictures that you're seeing. So there is a balance between having white noise in the team and actually having effective communication and effective messaging. You don't want to be standing there for 7 minutes in a circle because everybody's seeing a picture.
Yeah.
So,
and you missed the first guy's message.
Exactly, So it's also obviously limiting that and knowing, what information you're going to feed through, what is worth really concerning yourself about, and what's not, what's not really going to make us go forward.
And voices in the team, there's also voices in the squad. We speak about two guys like Dave and Normie, the defense coach and attack coach, that no one speaks about the importance and the influence in the team, especially you with Normie that's doing the defense as well. What is their influences the past couple of years? I mean, from where they've started with Vodacom Cup to winning the URC to what they're busy building now for Project 29.
Yeah, look, we got a really special coaching group at Jubies. You also played under them. I think I constantly tell my wife, I don't think any other place in world rugby will I be able to have open and honest conversations and reactions, that I can have with our coaching staff. And that's players across the board, So you probably get environments where it's very much like a dictatorship, like what the coach says, that's it, that's what we're doing. It's very robotic, you have to be there. Where our coaching staff are not like that, They really want to develop really good players. They want to make you a better player, play what you see. But with that, obviously, comes responsibility as well. On attack, there's freedom because obviously you're trying to play space, you're trying to play what you see, but defensively, there's a system. But in that is also room to implement yourself, to play, or to defend what you see, and actually to be like brave in your defensive system, But Darby, Coach Darby, absolute character.
Yeah,
Northern,
brilliant balance actually, loud and soft.
Yeah, 100%. So they feed and work off each other brilliantly. And you need it in a coaching in a management squad. It's guys that complement each other, and they also obviously it's like a team within a team. That So I don't know that dynamic between them that goes on behind the doors. There, I'm only the player, but. We can obviously feel it. You can feel there's synergy. It's well thought out. There's just a nice presence between them, or what they're actually presenting towards the team. So
And the synergy you spoke about now, it's the synergy from coming as a Blitzbok now into the 15s game. What synergy did you take from being a sevens player that has stood the test of time in your career now in the 15s game?
Paige, it's probably going to be a cliche, but I honestly believe like hard work will always bring results. It's at the sevens, hard work. You knew there was no day that you rocked up at the sevens thinking to yourself, "Oh, today we'll have a walkthrough and then maybe a gym and a lunch and that's it." You knew it's going to be a tough day, But I think seeing the results and the reward you got out of that hard work that you put in, those are probably like lessons I still try and implement in my game and in the way that I train today. But I'm not trying to blow my own horn, but at 34, still starting, obviously having a couple of responsibilities on the field, I like to believe that those things come with something that's had to happen behind the scenes, which it's, looking after yourself, hard work, making sure your nutrition is right. Those things don't just happen. There's not a lot of guys that can play still at 34. Like I said,
blow. This is behind the track. You blow your own horn. Yeah.
It feels wrong, But I mean, like to start and just be involved every match day squad. Luckily that you're involved in every match day squad. There's hard work that goes into that. So these are things obviously that I learned from a very young age at the sevens that I can still implement today in my career now.
And transition from sevens to 15s, because I find sometimes you're going from 15s to sevens is tough. And for you, how did you find the transition from actually started with sevens to 15s? It's easier?
Weirdly it is. It is. So you actually think it's easier because you're fitter. So the game feels slower, but there's actually a lot that you don't know about the 15s game. And this is actually, I feel, something that I was lacking when I went on the end of the year tour with the Boks in 2018. Is I was fresh out of sevens. I was only playing Currie Cup in the sevens off season. Next minute, Coach Rassi I'm with them overseas. But my knowledge of the 15s game was so limited, just purely because my time spent in the game wasn't enough. I didn't know enough. I mean, backfield rotations was a new thing for me. The folding principles, all of those things. It was something that I didn't really understand, or not. Like I knew it from what I was taught at Province, but obviously at that level, international level, Jubies, you guys know, like both of you went there. That's different gravy. So yeah, probably like in age a bit older, 27 when I was there, but I feel like experience in the 15s game, I wasn't close to
what you're feeling now.
Yeah, to what I was feeling right now. So yeah.
And what you see now with the Springboks, you've obviously been there 2018. That's when everything started, winning the Rugby World Cups, Rassi stepping in. What did you feel and see at that, end of year tour, what they're trying to build and Rassi trying to build to where they are now with double Rugby World Cups?
Yeah, Paige, like I said, my only experience with them was 4 weeks. And that was it, So, and I was still a bit starstruck back then, So up until then, look, there's guys who's now 20, 21, who was in the same position as what I was when I was 27. But I was a bit starstruck back then. I really actually couldn't believe where I was sitting, So there's guys obviously probably way more matured back then that took in information way differently than what I was taking in information. I think you're just taking information way differently when you're way more comfortable in an environment, when you settled in, So when you're a little bit on your nerves, you just try not to mess up, So, but obviously, I think too, back-to-back World Cup speaks for themselves. Those things don't just happen overnight, or per coincidence. I can only imagine. Like I said, I don't know that environment, but I can just imagine the amount of planning and not even for now, like going forward, the amount of vooruitdink. Sorry, my English.
I like it.
Yeah. But I mean, like, that's the pinnacle of our sport. Those things, you don't leave that by chance. Like every single thing was probably thought of and, prepared for. So yeah, I can only imagine how professional and obviously how elite that environment is.
And your career has been an interesting one when you look it on paper. Brandwag, Benoni.
Yes. What a journey.
Dan is MTN Lions.
Hello,
yes, Pumas, Lions.
MTN Lions. To a Blitzbok. Who did you always think you're going to end up where you're sitting now, 34-year-old, captaining the Stormers? And what was those early career days like for you, Ruhan?
No, never. I signed with the Lions. I was fortunate enough to have a coach saw potential in me while I was still playing for Tuks. And then this coach just happened to know Coach Akkies, who's now coaching the Bulls. Coach Akkies was the head coach of the Lions back then, and they just knew each other. They were mates. And he was just like, listen, I've got a player that's playing for me. I see some real potential. Would you mind if he just comes and trains a week with you guys? Back then, it was still the Vodacom Cup. Coach Dion Davids was still the head coach of the Vodacom Cup. And I went through, trained for the week, and then went back, played intervarsity for Tuks against UJ. So against most of the boys that I was training with the previous week. And then the week post that, Coach Akkies and them said, listen, we'll offer him a small contract. And then I played Vodacom Cup, my first TV game. Then, I still remember we played at Loftus. Jan Serfontein was fresh out of school. And he was playing in that team as well, played at Loftus. And I'll never forget the kicked and up and I played wing. Kicked and up and under. And first ball I'm trying to catch just got straight through my arms, knock. So that was my first introduction to professional rugby. National. And then that was my under 21 year. The year post that the Lions got relegated or kicked out of Super Rugby for the Kings.
Yes.
And then obviously that's not ideal for first year of Super Rugby because you can imagine any union is probably that's not where you want to be out of Super Rugby. And then got back in, and then the year post that they actually signed Cordnell to the Cordnell and Wynand Willis.
Signed
them to the Lions, and then they said to me, listen, Ruhan, we're probably going to back these guys right now. And I just said, cool, can I go play Varsity Cup for Wits? And went to Wits and then played a full season at Varsity Cup for Wits. We didn't win a single game. This Varsity Cup is lekker rugby that rocks, John.
Lekker.
And post that season, Coach Nel and Shoes and them at the Sevens actually saw my potential in the Varsity Cup, and then I got an invite down to Stellenbosch. So that's how I ended down at the Sevens 2014. Yeah.
So perseverance, you would say, was something that was important in that time when signed to the Lions and you thought now it's going to be
and
Super Rugby.
And there was a Griquas thing as well in between.
Yeah, so Griquas happened my first year that I signed at the Sevens because I was still part of the academy. So I only had like 1 or 2 tournaments under my belt, and then in the off season, obviously we had to get a little bit of rugby in. So then Griquas was still looking for players to come and join. I don't think they were as organized as what they are right now. We were still playing with that logo on us. That said, put your logo here, like the block.
I remember,
yeah. So obviously Griquas now way better than what we were back then. But then myself and Sticks went through for the Currie Cup in 2014. Yeah, 2015. I'm sorry. In 2014, I made my debut for the Sevens. So 2015, we went through for the Currie Cup season at Griquas, which also gave us a lot of good things. Yeah. So yeah.
And Coach Nel was still there. His impact.
At the Sevens.
At the Sevens, yeah.
Yeah, Jibbies, listen, I can probably speak for hours on Coach Nel and his impact that he not only had it on us as rugby players, but on us as young men going into that system. You know, I think if you chat to any Sevens guy that grew up under Coach Nel, they'll probably say the same thing. Look, I think one thing that made us really good back then, or one of our biggest strengths, was the desperation that we trained up. Because for a lot of us, that was like last stop shop. Outside of, I obviously got contracted down, but I knew like I'm not going to go back to the Lions. They're probably not going to contract me again. There's no other 15s contract for me. So same with Varys. Varys was told he was too small. Chasey was told he was too small. You can go Quagga, same thing. Yeah. So I think once you start playing with a different form of desperation, to be like, but this is it for me. Like I have to make this work. Just the level of commitment and energy and focus that you put into things there. I think that actually gave us that edge, because there was like a real sense of desperation in the way we did everything. So yeah, also like I just said, like you think it's something bad, but what you learn from that is actually something great. You know, like it obviously taught you that desperation and that hard work to make something work for you. So
yeah, that's a good coach. Neil had a massive impact, especially off the field as well. The way he guided us in terms of, not only rugby players being the best, but also like being a good man, being a good father. Those little things that goes a long way. Yeah,
look, there's no doubt when I rocked up at the Sevens, I was still a young man, but more of a boy, you know. When I left the Sevens, you were almost like a young man, you know. And you learned a lot about yourself in those tough training sessions, but Coach Neil always found a way to like tie some kind of a life lesson or, obviously Coach Neil is a massive Christian. And he's very, hoe kan ek dit nou sê? Like he's firm in his beliefs, you know, like hy wankel nie. Like
stand for something and don't fall for anything.
100%.
Lovely.
100%. You know, and obviously we could see that, you know, there's a rugby side, a coaching side, but Coach Neil always just found this nice blend of bringing real life experience and lessons into it as well. And I think a lot of the boys love that about him, you know. So Jubies, you obviously experienced him as well when you were at the Sevens, you know. So it's a powerful thing once you get that. Now it's almost like you're playing for a coach that you don't want to disappoint. Like you want him to be like, Paige,
I got you. Don't worry.
Well done, you know. So that was the overwhelming feeling. Everybody was like, yes, maar ek wil, you know, ek wil my skouer breek. Like I want to break a rib. Yeah, it's fine. You know, so yeah, it's an unbelievable time in my career. Yeah.
Boys, I had one. I think the box. It was 2016. We had one training session with the Sevens players.
Okay.
I was there in the indoors.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I left the day.
Indoors.
Yeah,
Okay,
indoors,
lucky.
yeah.
You can't run too much.
I left it and I said, never for me. Never for me.
No, so I actually remember that session. I think Coach Jock Nienaber was just there. He was. I actually
the
remember
defense
that.
session, because the defense
Yeah,
session.
so they were. You guys were implementing, I think, like your ruck folding, to set the pillars, and the Sevens boys would attack against that. And the only thing I was thinking was like, yeah, the Sevens body is not going to come far against any of these Springbok boys. Yeah. And then I remember like we still had a bleep test that we're doing in between. JC was dominating that session. Like that was, I could really there. You're like, nah, this is a different.
For me, the running was absolutely fine and the rugby training was, but as soon as we went to the pummeling stuff, Paige's never done it before. Never did the pummeling, the wrestling stuff in between. And I saw absolute stars, ghosts, everything in between.
Twisted slat a bit,
We were all there on stage.
and I'm going off topic. And I remember Opa that joined the Sevens also. And then he told me.
Pre-Olympics.
He joined 2016.
Yeah.
He came with that sword lines of 9.
So, and we laughed about it afterwards. I was like, I don't know how those boys do that each and every day, that they put their bodies through so much exhaustion. But we could obviously, from the outside, we could finally see it on the field. You guys were number 1 in the world, winning series, and then obviously the dominance you guys showed each and every week on the circuit was unbelievable.
Respect. I mean, you've got experience as well, the obviously tough weeks, but also like game day is tough. Like you play 3 games on a Friday or Saturday, you play 3 games on a Sunday, and that is play a game, hour and a half, off play a game, hour and a half, off play a game as well. So that 2 days are so tough. Yeah. The preseason is so tough. And I've said it before, I feel sometimes that these players, the Sevens players, get underpaid, and especially what they're trying to build now and what they're doing at the moment, series winners and stuff like that. It's fantastic to see where Blitzbok rugby is.
Yeah, it's a tough environment, Paige. Like obviously the preparation just preps you, Jubies, like you said, for that 6 games there. And it's so weird because even when we go back to 15s, you know what's coming when you go back to 7s, but for some reason you're still taking a blood nose when you get there. So
now, guys, I've got the what do you call it? The pelvic tilt. You know the die van 'n stert aan my. So 7s was never the one for me, boy. So, can you at 34? Do you think the body can still go one circuit?
Look, if they bring me up like for the last minute or so, but I'm saying the last minute. Surprisingly, a minute on a 7s field feels really long. So, in all honesty, no, I don't think Paige. I think that chapter is closed.
Okay.
Something is going to give somewhere, bro.
Rugby in the family as well. I mean, your brother played as well. I don't know if he's still playing. And I was that, especially you two growing up.
I think very fortunate that we had a father. My father played a little bit of under 21 rugby for the Lions as well, but he didn't go further with that. So obviously we were introduced to rugby like from a very young age. Fortunate that you had a brother that's only 2 years younger than you. So always had that chummy, to play with. And he also exposed, like, one of our first gifts from my father was a rugby ball. I remember my father would come home from work, after working a long day, and he would kick up and under to us in the backyard. So exposed to rugby from a very young age, and then just fortunate. I don't think everybody was fortunate enough to have played with his brother professional rugby, So me and my brother luckily could play a couple of games together for the Lions. But yeah, he then decided to go overseas, see what that is, but then got engaged. Yeah, and toe die verlange bietjie begin. So he then obviously also like a very, very good career, but he then saw an opportunity in business to get involved in and decided that he's rather going to pursue that. So it's weird because we had lunch one day in Stellenbosch and I asked him, like, doesn't he miss rugby? And he just says, like, he never thought he would love something more than what he loved, rugby. Because you guys know, if you're in rugby, that's
all you focused on,
like
all you go through.
That's all you wanted to be when you grow up, it's to be a professional rugby player, to represent the Springboks, So, and that's obviously how, like, you've actually found your calling outside of rugby, is when you wake up in the morning, you love something. I can't imagine loving something more than what I'm doing right now. Like, you get up in the morning, you're excited to be between your mates, to play around there. So to find something that's giving you more joy, finding, feeling that, yes, but I'm serving out more of my purpose in this. It's special and obviously something that you're very happy for. And I feel like once you got that, you're bound to make a success of that as well. So.
And Tana Umaga said it as well. You are an ex-rugby player more than you are a rugby player.
Yeah.
Je moet leren, hè? Ruth, for you as well. I mean, the recent father as well. We're stepping into our LoveChange moment. Okay, this is made just for you by Brightrock. It's a special question about starting a family. I mean, especially for you as well. I mean, you're a dad now. I mean, your little one is 3 now at the moment. What was it like for you as well? Not only starting a family, but that moment of, in 2023, waking up early, but also having that focus of, having fantastic games coming up or, training the next day. What was that like?
Yeah, Paige, you look, and Jubies, it's probably it's the best thing and the scariest thing at the same time, having kids and raising a kid. I remember how shocked me and my wife were when we, obviously, not shocked, like that pleasantly surprised, when you find out that your first one is on the way.
What's her name?
Mine.
Yeah.
Mine, yeah. So just turned 3 years old. Unbelievable, bro. Like she's the light of our world. I'm pretty sure you can relate. In the afternoons when you get home and there's this overexcitement, like Papa's at home. It's playtime. Papa just had a 2-3 hour rugby session, but we don't care. So it's been the best thing ever. The last 3 years have been the best 3 years of our lives. So obviously with that adjustment in the mornings, it's very quick. Like there's no introduction or PDF that they give you to be like, listen, prep yourself. It's, you 2 nights in hospital and then night 3 you're at home. And I remember the first night in hospital, me and my wife, we were crying. What do we do?
The challenges running around.
You just don't know what you don't know, So the baby's crying. You don't know why the baby is crying. First night we at home, same thing. Both of us were crying because the baby is crying. You just don't know why they're crying. So tough, like that adjustment phase is really tough, but it's more of a blessing than what it is a burden, So I feel like it's for those first 3 months that it's not a fast bait. And then it's a joy once they start getting personality, and the smile starts coming and stuff. It's the best thing ever. And then all of a sudden your why changes, like you start doing things for different reasons and for different people. And so it's, the last 3 years has been absolutely...
Nothing beats a girl dad, eh?
Oh, because you can wear to wear sag as I can say.
Soft because I don't know if it's for you as well, because all our rugby players, we want a boy, but they also say, everyone wants a boy, but every man needs a girl because it gives you a little bit of a softer side. It cools you down a bit. Huh? I've got both now, so the one is there, but the other one is calm.
Yeah, she's got you around your finger.
They bet. Go, they bet. I did something weird, boys. The first night, talking about your first night in hospital. I wasn't sure if my one is alive because he was.
Well, you one of that one's good. Check every half an hour.
Every half an hour, then I put my finger by the nose so I could feel if there's.
Okay. Henry Pollock just checking.
Checking there's a pulse.
That was nuts. Oh, that is some memory. The hospital time. But boykies, and I should be probably the one that brings this up and ask the two of you because you guys spend so much time and this week we've had. Some untimely news that you guys have lost through your manager, Chippy Solomons. If you guys can just maybe take the floor in just speaking about him and your memories with him and the fondness and what he meant for you guys in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah, GB, do you want
Yeah. So for me personally, I mean, I started as a youngster. I rock up at HPC like 19, 20 years old, and Uncle Chippy was there. And obviously, Uncle Chippy is the first guy when you come into the HPC. He's the first door. He's the first guy that actually explains to you what's going on. And for me personally, he was almost like a father figure, man. You know, showing you around, but also guiding you on tours, on trips, in curry cups, in Super Rugby back in the day, in terms of what must you do, how much you use your money, what guidelines do you take as a professional rugby player, and the impact he has done in my life personally has meant a lot. I mean, he's meant a lot he's been there 21 years, for 21 years, and he's seen people coming in and out, if that's for a year or 20 years or 15 years. And it's, for me personally, it's sad, especially looking at, Auntie Pearl and Chad as well, and their sister, but he's meant so much to me, and it's just a sad time to see, Chippy going so quickly, and you don't have time to really adapt to it.
Yeah, I think it was a shock for all of us, like I was still, I gave him my passport on Friday with him in his office. I even asked him, like, what's your weekend plans, Uncle Chip? And he said he was planning to obviously go to his club, spend the morning at home with Auntie Pearl, and then next thing, Saturday morning, you get a call from Inga, our physio, and when she called me at 7, I said to my wife, I'm like, did I miss a physio appointment? I'm like, no, man. And I just said to her, like, something has to be wrong. And then she actually broke the news to me. But you basically in shock, and I think what made it so real is the fact that a couple hours prior to that, I was sitting in Uncle Chippy's office, But Uncle Chippy, we actually spoke about that today in our small group, So every week we have a small group at training. And because like the team is still dealing with this, So every now and again, someone will pop in, we'll make small groups, we'll pray for each other. And we just went around speaking about Uncle Chippy. And one thing that I just brought up, they asked, obviously, what is one thing about Uncle Chippy that would, for instance, help you in your walk in faith? And I just said, like, one thing Uncle Chippy really taught me is the value of relationships. And I know it sounds like very plat, like artificial cliche, but I promise you, Uncle Chippy could get things done for the team and with the team that you don't know how. And if you start asking him about it, it's because 12, 13, 14 years ago, he met this guy there and stayed in contact and built a relationship, and this happened for the team. And when we went to Toulon, for instance, when they came to play us 2-3 years ago, Buster, I was now the manager of the Toulon team. Uncle Chippy did him a favor when they were here. They stayed in contact to the point where they got us into restaurants. They booked us places there. They showed us there, gave us not even Toulon does captain's runs on Stade Mayol. We could do captain's run on Stade Mayol, So I'm not saying that's a direct effect of the relationship, but it just makes stuff so much easier, and that's due to Uncle Chippy having so many relationships that he obviously nurtured and spent time in, So he probably would have given you a lashing if you asked for more tickets. But then half an hour later he'll text you, be like, I get your 4 kaartjies for you, So Uncle Chippy was he lived and breathed that team, I don't think he just never changed. I'm probably falling over my own words, but it's difficult to grasp such a massive impact, probably in a 2-minute answer right now, But Uncle Chippy was, he was the glue of that team, he was the bedrock of that team. So I don't think we necessarily realize right now the big hole that he's left. I think it'll come up like in the coming weeks once we start touring again. Once you want to, that favor. It's like, oh, flip, Uncle Chippy always used to do that for me, or Uncle Chippy always took control of that, So I think we'll actually start only really missing him the further the season goes on, But right now at HPC, there's flowers in front of his door. There's a picture of him. No one has been in there yet. So we'll wait, obviously, for the family to have that privilege to go in there and take whatever they want or want to keep from Uncle Chippy. And I'm sure the organization will have their processes following that. So, it's just very emotional week for the team.
He was the heart of soul, especially of HPC, especially of the DHL Stormers as well. And I mean, sometimes most meetings, when he comes in there, the people start clapping because they know there's either a kak sessie coming or something. And it always there's this line of, be that as it may.
Be that as it may, nuna secundus.
Nuna secundus. Hy kaks je aan, but be that as it may. I mean, he went the extra mile for us. He always said, like, he had obviously had Chad as his son, but every season he had 50 guys to look after on trips and stuff like that. When you need Nando's, going away from home, just for us to make ourselves comfortable, he will, put himself in the back seat to make sure that we comfortable.
Yeah, Jubies, and I mean, like in his office, there's pictures of you guys hanging there with you and Uncle Chippy. I mean, Brian, Hugh, all of that. Like, he was absolutely just for the players. He loved everything about the Stormers, and we spoke about it in the week. Uncle Chippy was exactly the same that he was day one when he walked into that position of manager. It stayed the same privilege. He knew the responsibility that he had, and he was embracing that. Like, he knew. I remember I was sitting in his office one year and he said to me, Ruhan, when the team runs onto the field, obviously in Afrikaans and typical Uncle Chippy, he said, the reason they're on the field is because of me. Like, he was like, ek organise hy. Hulle is daar vir my, ek het daai goed gereël. And I was just thinking to myself, Chip, it's, kind of the fixture that forces us to be here. But obviously, he's got so much pride, or he had so much pride in what he did, for 22 years. And it's just going to be, het gaan groot skoene wees om vol te maak.
That's big memories. And he also had like water and steady stampies in his office, and he was the only guy that can give steady stampies and water.
And you had to ask, you can't just take.
You can't just take. Then he said, another steady stampie.
That's special.
Memories.
Ons gaan hom baie mis.
I think from my side and from the outside, I want to obviously vir die span sterkte and obviously condolences for the wider Solomons family from behind the Ruck side. But I think that is the appropriate thing for us just to, for the family condolences in this tough time. En ook vir julle as 'n span waar julle hierdie week moet gaan en Saterdag sterkte, Ruhan.
Ja.
Ek dink van ons kant af, regtig, ek glo om Chippy het 'n groot gat gelos by die Stormers en in Suid-Afrikaanse rugby, so sterkte met die process of dealing with it. Ek is nie goed met woorde en wat om die regte ding te sê nie, maar ek dink ek wil net van ons sou se kant af net sê dat sterkte met alles man.
En dankie vir jou tyd ook, Ruhan. Ek bedoel, you guys have a couple of tough games coming up, obviously 2 at home, but it's also going away. And I mean, everyone is chasing for this top 8 spot, so all the best for the team, but for you as well. Hopefully you will be injury free. Hopefully you can push forward and staying at that number 1, number 2 spot, and hopefully we can get another final at the DHL Stadium.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. I just want to add, that obviously from the team's perspective, like, we'll obviously try and honor Uncle Chippy the best way we can. And that's through the way that we train, conduct ourselves in the field, and obviously we know Uncle Chippy would want us to bring that trophy home. So I know there's a lot of other rugby boys watching it, but that's just obviously the focus is completely shifted, to obviously do him proud, and we'll obviously try our best to do that. So, but thanks to you guys as well, Jubies, Beiji for the time as well.
Pleasure, dat was nou lekker geweest. Okay, Paddy, up next, Ruckers, we got the fixtures for this upcoming URC weekend. Okay, don't go anywhere.
Ooh, Ruckers, what a special episode. What a legend of a man. This was an episode I was looking forward to. I mean, I had the privilege to work with the big man for years, but he has showed so much what he's done on the field, but off the field as well. Myself and him was challenging his other, especially at number 13 journey. But the mindset he has, the things he's doing at the moment, and the challenges he's facing to achieve the things that he has is absolutely fantastic. Okay, Ruckers, I hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed it in the studio. But before we get going, like, share, and subscribe. Okay? Talk to Justin Bieber. But okay, let's get into it.
Ruckers, the upcoming weekend's fixtures is brought to you by Burger King, and it is URC that is back in the house. Okay, we got Friday night Dragons hosting the Vodacom Bulls at Rodney Parade in Wales. Saturday at the DHL Stadium is the Stormers versus Connacht, a nice and early afternoon kickoff here in Cape Town. We have the Lions up against the Glasgow Warriors. Franco Smith, Sione Tuipulotu, Hugh Jones, Kyle Steyn, they're all in South Africa playing against the Lions. It is the Fidelity Secure Drive Lions.
Yes.
Okay?
Please,
that is 4 o'clock on Saturday afternoon, and Saturday evening, nice and late kickoff, 8:45. We have the Hollywood Bets that is away against the Ospreys. Okay, so that's the upcoming fixtures for South African teams this weekend, Paddy.
Is it easy to say that the away teams got the easier fixtures? I mean, the Bulls with Dragons away and the Sharkies with Ospreys. Let's speak about that, especially Friday. Those two teams are actually, I don't want to say in trouble, but I mean, the Bulls are sitting at number 8 and the Sharkies at number 11. Massive game, especially for the Bulls.
No, and I think both teams has got a favorable last 4 matches, partner. So they can really make the top 8. But the Bulls have to beat the Dragons. It's a must win. For both sides, the Hollywood Bet Sharks and the Vodacom Bulls, the next 4 matches they have to win. There's no negotiating. There's no canala.
Yeah.
We got to win.
Killers, you got to fight. It's time to fight now. And I mean, looking at the Bulls at the current moment, slowly but surely, and not great news coming out of the Bull camps. You know, guys are leaving. Annie Nokia is leaving. David Krill is leaving. The boys are leaving. Are they happy or they're not happy? What's going on?
Ruckus, you see what's happening?
No, I'm just checking.
We have the Stormers captain in the episode, and now he is having little short jabs at me because the Bulls camp, apparently, to my partner's liking, people are leaving the boat.
Welcome low, okay. But I mean, that's going to be like a game. Especially, it's always a tough one at Rodney Stadium, but I think the Bulls can take this one easy. Because the Dragons is not looking good so far this season.
No, we've got no other choice, Parry. If we want to finish top 8 and make the playoffs, we got to beat the Dragons in Wales. And they obviously spend the week in France. So hopefully the time spent together will put us into good state in this game. But I'm going to go for the Bulls in that one. I'm also going to go the Sharks against the Ospreys. The last South African team that's playing Saturday. I think it's 2 favorable fixtures.
Yeah. I mean, both teams... I know anything can happen, and it's tough to play away from home, especially with the Sharks as well. I mean, they've lost Eben Etzebeth now with an hip injury for 2 months. So they're going to be desperate to knock onto the doors because we want, please, okay, South African franchises, top 8. Ek vra nie baie nie, top 8. The Lions get a lekker opportunity, especially if you look at the Lions versus Glasgow. At home, they're looking good when they play at home. I know the stadium's not that full, but Glasgow sitting at number 1 at the current moment. They've got an opportunity to take this one, especially with a knock Glasgow team, because what happened in the Investing Champions Cup against Toulon.
Yeah, look, but I think Frank would target this match. I really think they would target the Lions that they need to make sure that they get
because the Stormers is up next.
The Stormers is the
top
following
of the table
weekend.
Clash.
And they're not going to be secure that they're going to beat the Stormers in the DHL Stadium. That is not a guarantee at all. So I'm going to actually go for Glasgow in this match. But don't worry.
No.
I've been the last few weeks, me predicting rugby games has not gone well. Okay?
Yeah, I understand.
But I'm going to go Glasgow.
Glasgow, easy or tough?
No, tough. Very tough. Very difficult.
So it's a close game at the end of the day.
Close game. I just think for where they want to be, Glasgow Warriors and Franco Smith and them, they need to win the Lions at Ellis Park. But it won't be easy.
Yeah. I'm going to back the Lions with this one.
Nice,
just for a reason. I mean, Investing Champions Cup, they're coming off an L. And once you go overseas and you're coming with it, I don't want to say negative attitude, but you're desperate. Your back's against the wall. And the Lions are... Yes, they struggled a couple of games here and there. It's about the consistency. But the past 2 games for me, that look like they're firing from all cylinders. So like you said, it's going to be a tough game. But I'm also going to back the Lions plus 3 or 4. And 3 or 4 is enough because we want to stay in the top 8, especially for them.
And your team, the DHL Stormers,
yes.
Connacht, easy win. What are we saying?
Not easy. It's going to be a tough outing. I mean, the Connacht are a good outfit. And especially if they have their British and Irish Lions and the internationals backs like Weet-Bix. If Weet-Bix is back, it's going to be a different story. McHanson as well, the Irish players. It's going to be a tough one, but I think the Stormers at the moment, where we are at...
vier warm.
Hey?
4 warm.
After that game at Loftus.
4 warm.
From that game, we're 4 warm. But I must say, it's an emotional week, especially for us. We spoke about it with Ruhan Nel. It's an important week for us. Knowing there's only 4 games left, we got 2 at home. Next weekend is top of the table clash. Then we're going away with Munster and Cardiff. So this is a must win for us. And what a special occasion to top it off, especially with the W, knowing what's happening, what's happened, and knowing what's coming as well. So I'm going to back the Stormers with this one.
So you're going all 4 South African teams. I'm being a bit of a rude guy, just saying the Glasgow might win, but I think hopefully our teams can be successful. And I'm hoping the Lions prove my prediction wrong, if that makes sense. Okay? And is that it for the weekend?
Chicken wrap.
Chicken wrap.
The burger is in the chicken wrap because the Burger King is in the house.
There we go, Ruckers. Okay. Again, I want to encourage you guys. Burger King, official partner of Behind the Ruck now. Go to our social media platforms. From now on, for the foreseeable future, we will be running competitions with Burger King. We will be giving out vouchers to lucky winners, hopefully each and every week. So don't tell us you didn't know about it because we're telling you now, okay? And then this show. everything about behind the ruck, the lights that are on this beautiful set. We've been 2 years with SuperSport Bet now. 2 years with SuperSport
Skin in the
Bet.
game time.
So guys, please download the app. And if you've got the app, please gamble responsibly, okay? So Behind the Ruck, proudly supported by SuperSport Bet. We dressed in our Macron apparel.
Yeah, all blacks.
There we go.
Greatest rivalry. Hey, come on.
Sy seatbelt is af die week, Ruckers. Kom ons gaan huis toe.
Hey, Ruckers, I'm Juan de Jong.
I'm Rudy Pates.
And the Ruck is clear. Bye-bye.
See you guys next week, Ruckers.